Hi friends, welcome back to another live Instagram with midwives around the globe. Tonight we get to talk to a midwife in Louisiana as the numbers are growing there, and actually the reports that we've seen are that they're having the highest rate of climb as any area in the whole world. So we're going to talk to a midwife from Louisiana tonight and find out what's going on down there on the ground. Let's see if we can help her join. Yeah, so there we go. I think there she is. We want to go live. So thanks for tuning in with me. We're going to be talking to Sally Acosta in Louisiana, in New Orleans, and hear what she has to say. So Sally, go ahead and click that request to join, and I'll add you in. We'll hear what you have to say right now. For the rest of you, welcome. I hope you're taking really good care of yourself. If you know of a midwife in the region of the world that is experiencing something you think the world should know about right now, definitely send them my way. We're doing these live Instagram talks almost every single day, sometimes several a day, and then I move them over to my YouTube channel. So you can find me at Art of Birthing on YouTube. You can also search my name, Augustine Colebrook. Almost all the videos that I've done are up there on Instagram. We also have several presentations. I have an hour-and-a-half long discussion with midwives around the country who've had unassisted births that you can watch as some moms around the country are preparing to birth unassisted during this pandemic. And then we also have another hour-and-a-half long presentation of telehealth. I shared one of my telehealth medicine visits. So you can find all that on my YouTube channel. And then tomorrow we are having a conversation with Barbara Harper about water birth during the time of COVID. So without further ado, let's see if we can bring in our lovely friend. There we go. I see you asking. So let me just go ahead and add you since you're having trouble there. Hang in one second. Yep. So you just click that request to join. If you can't do it, I'll go ahead and do it myself. If I can make it. There we go. Okay, we're going. Yes. So great. There we go. Hi, Sally. Can't see you quite yet. There, we can see you. Hi.
Hello.
You did it.
Hello. Good to see you. I did. I figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to hear your voice again.
It's good to hear your voice and see your beautiful smiling face there outside. How are you? You want to say who you are and where you are, and then tell me how you are?
Sure. So my name is Sally Acosta, and I am a midwife in Louisiana. I live in Covington, Louisiana, which is about 45 minutes outside of New Orleans. And I generally serve people not in the New Orleans area, but lately it looks like I may be venturing that way because there's a lot of need right now. So things are kind of shifting in my midwife life, and I'm trying to adapt like everybody else, I think.
Yeah, crazy, crazy times. Well, so how are you? How are you feeling? How's your family? How are your spirits? How are you?
Well, I'm feeling overwhelmed, which I think a lot of people are right now. My family is well. No one is sick. My husband has poison ivy, which is fun, but not related to COVID. And my family has been hunkered down now for 2 weeks, I would say. And yeah, it's pretty dire in the city, and things are pretty scary. And I think for me, the scary part is, or one of the scary parts, is just that not everybody seems to be really taking it as seriously as I think we are, protecting themselves and their families. But I think everybody's trying, but When I go to the store, I seem to be the only one wearing masks and gloves, and everybody seems to be kind of doing their own thing and looking at me like I'm a little crazy. So it's an adjustment, but I'm doing what I can to protect myself and my family and my clients. But it's difficult. I got a lot of late transfer people calling and trying to navigate that. And
Yeah. Do
honestly,
you know the numbers in your state?
the numbers of what?
Infections or
Well, they're changing every day. I haven't
Yeah.
looked at it today, but it is definitely growing at a rapid pace. And, recently I do have some people who work in the hospital, some friends, and they're really overwhelmed and scared. And it's difficult. It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about
and
these
this
late
like
transfer people that are calling. What are their main concerns? What are they asking you for?
Yeah, I think, main concerns are the big ones. We can't have any more than one person at most hospitals in the area, so they have to choose between their husband or their doula, which, is happening a lot in the world. And they're concerned that if they have any kind of symptoms, they may be separated from their baby, which is really, really scary. And of course, they're concerned about getting the infection, but I do think that that may be kind of far on the scared list for them. I think it's more people are not happy about their birth plans having to change so drastically in the last minute, and they don't really know what to expect come the time when they do go into labor.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that's just kind of mysterious and up in the air, and they don't feel like they can make an appropriate plan because they lack the support.
Yeah.
And especially VBAC moms in our area, we are not allowed to attend VBACs in Louisiana, so they have to go to the hospital. We can't do home births. And these moms really wanted to have their support people with them, and they had plans, and they're afraid that those are going to go out the window because of the way things are happening, protocols in the hospital. So those moms are calling me a lot, and that's really hard for me. It's definitely emotional. We did just find out that they allowed the nurse midwives to practice without physician collaboration in our area, which was a huge deal, and we're hoping that that will allow them to attend VBACs outside of the hospital, which has been a real issue for CNMs in our area. They some of them want to do VBACs, and they can't unless they have a physician collaboration. So it's a difficult one, and I'm getting lots of people who are definitely going to go unassisted because I can't help them. So I'm hoping that the nurse midwife thing provides another option for those women. We are opening a birth center in Covington, which is a huge deal right now.
Wow.
We have no birth centers well, we do have a birth center in Baton Rouge, but it's doctor run. So this is the first birth center CPM run in our area, and it's very exciting and coming at the perfect time.
Wow.
And we're kind of hoping we get a nurse midwife in there, and maybe we can help these VBAC mamas during this time.
So that was planned before the pandemic.
It was planned before the pandemic, but when the pandemic hit, they really bumped opening and just made it happen really fast. So
that's so
it should be in the next week or so. Yeah.
Well, I would love to be connected with them. We're doing a talk this week on setting up emergency birth centers because of the pandemic. So I'd love to talk to them if you would connect me. That's really exciting.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm sure they would love to talk to you.
Great.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Very exciting. Well, so when
we are trying to get donations for the birth center, and maybe I can post a link on your page for them.
That'd be great.
So yeah,
thanks. When you say you can't take these clients, these late transfers that are calling you, it's because of your state licensing laws, not because of your desire?
well, I was really just talking about the VBAC clients that I can't take because it's illegal for me.
You can't take the VBAC. Okay. Because of your state law.
Right, right. But I am taking people late, but I'm really screening them a lot because I'm getting a lot of people who don't really know what home birth looks like and don't really have a lot of information. And, we're getting lots of people wanting discounts, and that's really difficult. And, I'm trying to protect myself and my family and my other clients. And honestly, I really struggle with being a mobile midwife and being online to do appointments. And I was not trained for this. So this is just a totally new experience for me. And there's definitely some grief there around having to move my appointments to ways I'm not used to doing. And it's hard for me and my clients, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to navigate that. That's really difficult.
It is difficult. Yeah. And you're not alone. I posted a telehealth visit that I did this week with one of my clients as an example, because I know I've heard this several times. I've been a mobile midwife for 4 years now, so it's actually very comfortable to me to do televisits, but I know that it's totally new for many. And I'm trying to put together a whole list of resources for how to do that better. But I just put up an example this week as like something to share. It's really hard to lose the physical connection, the eye contact, and the actual feeling the belly. It's really, really hard. Yeah.
Right. I think I'm typically a kind of antisocial person, but I really like my little communications with people and my clients, and that's how I socialize.
Yeah.
So even though I'm kind of used to being home, I'm not used to not having those interactions often throughout the week. And it's kind of sad.
Yeah. We've all lost so much. I totally, the whole fabric of society has changed. It's very, very shocking.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so as you look into the future here, there's some reports saying that Louisiana, and specifically New Orleans, is having a really very sharp rise in cases, and that pretty soon their hospital system could be overrun. Is your community doing anything about plans to help normal birthing folks if that were to happen?
Not that I know of, besides the birth center opening. I'm not really on the front lines as far as being in the hospitals and seeing and knowing what's happening there, but I'm hearing from people that it's a really high death rate. And I found out that the morgues are running out of space, so they're renting freezers and putting them outside of the hospitals to put the bodies, which is terrifying. And we have a lot of trauma left over here from Katrina, and this is triggering a lot of people. Some people are choosing to ignore it, I think, because it's scary, and that's an easier option to just pretend like it's not happening. But the people who see it and are living it and have seen it in Katrina especially, they see that this is real and this is happening. And it's just difficult because it's either they're completely understanding that this is happening or they're totally not. And so there's this mixture of people who get it and people who don't get it. And I think it's creating a big rift, but we are definitely coming together in the fact that this is triggering trauma for everybody. And we're all going through it together, just like we did with Katrina. And we will find a way, to pull through it, and we will recover, but it's going to be hard. And I think we're just realizing it. The hard part hasn't gotten here yet. So we're kind of sitting and waiting for that. It's almost like being in the eye of the hurricane. We know it's going to hit. We know it's coming, but we just don't know what to expect. And I don't think anybody can ever be quite prepared for something like this. But Mardi Gras is probably what sent the virus here in such a huge amount, and it showed up 2 weeks after is when it started climbing and climbing fast. And if people don't start taking it as seriously as some of us are, I don't know what's going to happen with those numbers, but
Does
I'm
Louisiana
scared.
have a shelter in place rule?
Yes, we do have a shelter in place rule, and there's definitely less people out and about doing their thing, but there's also a lot of people who aren't really taking it very seriously. But I think our community in general is, the restaurants are closed. They are doing curbside pickups, but I think it's the regular people in the stores that you know just stand right next to you, or I don't know. It's just hard. Like we need to have this separation. We need to respect that this is a virus and it's spreading fast and rapidly, and I don't think everybody's getting it, but there's definitely a lot of people who are.
Yeah,
I guess
they
I don't
have.
see those people very much because they're probably home like me most of the time. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, they said in New York now that basically every single resident of New York knows someone who has had the virus.
Hmm.
And, they've climbed to those levels. And I think across the country, especially in areas where there aren't very many cases, it's kind of like it's not real yet. Hasn't
Yeah.
hasn't quite hit home yet. And it's such, like, everyone keeps calling it the invisible enemy. It is so invisible.
Yeah.
It's hard to understand, and we've lost so many personal freedoms, personal liberties as a result of this scenario, that it's really hard to um, understand
Yeah.
those changes without it being real. So that's
Right.
a real
And I
challenge.
think that people who went through Katrina have gone through that in some way. So that's a part of the trigger too. It's like the memories of not being able to get help, not being able to find toilet paper, groceries,
Yeah, they've been through that.
and yeah, we've been through that, and this is it's definitely a trigger. And I think depression is such a big thing here too, and people being
Yeah.
home alone, and we're all going through a lot. Everybody is.
Yeah, I've heard about the increased rates of domestic violence, bad outcome,
Yeah,
not just increased rates of abuse, but actually that there are people dying as a result of domestic violence. Are you aware of that in your community?
oh, well, I know that that's, a part that is always been taxing our system somewhat. It's high rate here in New Orleans anyway because of poverty and many other underlying factors. But right now, being cooped up with my family and my husband who has poison ivy, I kind of get it. Like, it's hard. It's really hard to be in a
Oh,
room with somebody who's having a difficult time all
yeah,
day, and nurturing them and taking care of them and taking care of yourself and balancing it. So
yeah. And if
I
you don't
could
have
definitely see
skills,
that that's going to be a problem. Yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely going to be a taxing problem on the hospitals too. And child abuse is going to be an issue.
mm,
There's a lot of things. The stores, it's really hard to find what you need here sometimes. I'm sure that that's happening all over the place, but with WIC, you have only certain things that you can buy with WIC, and if everybody kind of goes on the first of the month and picks everything up, then those families are suffering and not able to find the things that WIC will cover. And it's not easy to apply for emergency food stamps and unemployment, and it's especially difficult on those people. They may not have access to fill out these forms, and of course all
yeah.
the public buildings
And
are
they have
shut
to
down.
stand in line for sometimes days. The new numbers just came out this morning. The United States has passed 10 million new unemployment claims in the last 14 days alone.
Yeah.
It's quite alarming. I know that I think I've experienced this, and I think you've seen it too in your community, that so many Americans live paycheck to paycheck, that
Hmm.
now just missing one paycheck in the last 2 weeks has caused a domino effect, that is quite startling. I'm very concerned about the long-term effects of this. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's a look into the future that's really scary. It's like if
Yeah.
it's so hard right now, how hard is it going to be in 4 weeks, you know? And that's hard to predict, but I don't see it getting better before it gets worse, so I'm kind of preparing for that. But yeah, I think midwifery is especially anxiety. There's just so much anxiety going on. I'm worried about my husband bringing something home to me, and then me somehow getting it to my clients, even with protection.
Yeah.
You know, I have a logical brain, and I think about the births that I did that lasted, you know, 48 hours, and I slept in people's beds, and, you know,
on their floor.
You're comfortable.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, imagining wearing a mask for 48 hours, or being protected for 48 hours, and it's hard for me to really comprehend, because I've never done that before.
Yeah.
And it's a scary situation. My husband does heating and cooling, so he deals with
also
people's
in and out of
systems.
people's homes. Yeah.
Right. So it's really, there's a lot of anxiety for him too, because he really doesn't want to be the cause of bringing something in the house and then me bringing it to someone.
Is he wearing protective gear when he does his house calls?
So he's actually, I kind of told him he can't go to work until they get him a mask. So he's been home for a few weeks, and we have a mask now, but now he has poison ivy. So this is another thing, is he got a fever, but I'm pretty sure, like 99.9% sure, the fever is from the poison ivy. But now I'm like, does he have this? And I'm going to get, you know, exposed, and I won't even know I'm exposed for 2 weeks. So
well, yeah, the CDC is now saying that a full 25% of people carrying COVID are symptomless.
Right. So that's another piece, that it's like, if I knew I had it, there's a way I could respond to it, but who knows? Who knows who's carrying this? And the guilt of giving it to someone would be really hard to deal with. Well, I think a lot of midwives
I don't know if this helps or not, but it would be very impossible to trace, because the incubation rate is so varied, from 2 days to 27 days. There's really no way to say where it came from.
Right. So, but I don't know if that makes me feel any better, because then I would just be like, I don't know, maybe I gave it to her, maybe I didn't, you know. So I think that's going to be an issue if any of our clients do wind up getting an infection. For every midwife, is just going to be, did I have anything to do with that? Who knows? You know, I wish there was some screening process that was easy for us to be able to know.
Oh, you mean testing? You wish there was testing? Yeah. I wish there was testing too.
Yeah, just an easy screen to see if I was a carrier, or if anybody around me was a carrier. It's confusing.
The first thing is having access to those tests, but then that's the U.S. problem right now. Well, it's been such a pleasure catching up with you. I'm so glad that we got this face-to-face. I hope that you take really good care of yourself. Try not to carry the anxiety.
I'm trying.
The higher likelihood is that community transmission is going to happen to 70% of our population.
I think I'm just starting to get into the acceptance mode, so I can feel my anxiety level going down a little bit, but I'm kind of understanding.
Yeah, I've had my own fair share of anxiety, so I feel you. Yeah.
It's good to chat with you.
That's good to chat with you too. If things change on the ground there, will you let us know and come back online? But in the meantime, take really good care of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup, remember? So make sure that you are really nourishing yourself first. And And
I'll be in touch about the birth center. Maybe we'll do a little live video or something like that.
That would be great. Alrighty. Well, thanks, Sally. Have a good day.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You too.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Thanks.